The Midnight Express thundered through the stormy night, its whistle piercing the howling winds. Inside the luxurious train, passengers settled into their compartments, oblivious to the dark deed that would soon shatter their tranquility. Detective Samuel Hayes leaned back in his seat in the opulent dining car, sipping his coffee, a seasoned detective known for his sharp mind and calm demeanor. Samuel was looking forward to a peaceful journey to the countryside. The rhythmic clatter of the train on the tracks was almost soothing, lulling him into a state of relaxed vigilance. Suddenly, the serenity was shattered by a blood-curdling scream. Samuel was on his feet in an instant, coffee cup forgotten. He followed the sound to a private compartment near the end of the car. The door was ajar, and inside lay the lifeless body of a middle-aged man, a knife protruding from his chest. The man's face was frozen in an expression of shock and terror. Samuel quickly assessed the scene. The victim was Robert Marlowe, a wealthy businessman with a reputation for making enemies. Samuel had encountered Marlowe before, in connection with some shady dealings that had never quite led to a conviction. As the train kept moving, panic spread among the passengers. Samuel knew he had to act quickly. The train would stop at the next station in less than an hour, and the killer could easily disappear into the night. Samuel addressed the conductor, Mr. Thompson.
"Secure all exits and gather everyone in the dining car. No one leaves until we find the murderer."
Thompson nodded and hurried to carry out the orders. Samuel examined the compartment more closely. There were no signs of a struggle, suggesting Marlowe had been taken by surprise. The weapon, a common kitchen knife, indicated it was a crime of opportunity rather than premeditation. In the dining car, the passengers were a motley crew, a nervous young woman clutching a book, a middle-aged couple whispering to each other, a burly man with a scar across his cheek, and a bespectacled man who looked every bit the absent-minded professor. Thompson, the conductor, stood near the entrance, his face pale and drawn.
"Ladies and gentlemen," Samuel began, "a murder has been committed. Until we find the culprit, no one leaves this car. Please cooperate, and we'll resolve this quickly."
He started with the young woman, who introduced herself as Clara Evans, a librarian traveling to visit her family. She had been reading in her compartment and had heard nothing unusual. The middle-aged couple, Mr. and Mrs. Harper, claimed to have been in their compartment as well, engaged in a heated argument.
"It was nothing serious,"
Mrs. Harper insisted, her eyes darting nervously. The burly man with the scar was a dock worker named Jack Riley.
"I was in the lounge having a drink. Plenty of folks saw me there."
Finally, the professor, Dr. Leonard White, seemed flustered.
I was, in the observation car, studying the stars. I didn't hear anything."
Samuel knew he needed to dig deeper.
"Does anyone here have any connection to Mr. Marlowe?"
The passengers exchanged puzzled glances until Dr. White spoke up.
I, recognize him from a conference. He was involved in some, questionable investments. I kept my distance."
Samuel noticed Clara's hands trembling.
"Miss Evans, are you sure you don't know Mr. Marlowe?"
Clara hesitated, then burst into tears.
All right, I knew him. He ruined my family. My father invested in his schemes and lost everything. I never thought I couldn't.
Samuel's gaze softened.
"You didn't kill him, did you?"
No, I swear. I just wanted to confront him, but I couldn't go through with it.
Samuel believed her. His instincts told him the killer was someone else. His eyes fell on the Harpers.
"Mr. Harper, your argument with your wife seemed rather intense. Was it about Marlowe?"
Mr. Harper's face turned red.
Yes, all right. Marlowe was blackmailing me. He found out about some indiscretions, but I didn't kill him.
Samuel's mind raced. Suddenly, he had an idea. He excused himself and went back to Marlowe's compartment, searching through the man's belongings. He found a leather-bound notebook filled with detailed records of his blackmail schemes. Marlowe had kept meticulous notes on everyone he had dirt on, including dates and amounts. Back in the dining car, Samuel confronted the professor.
Dr. White, you seem rather knowledgeable about Mr. Marlowe's affairs. More so than an innocent bystander should be.
White's face turned pale.
I don't know what you're insinuating.
Samuel held up the notebook.
You had a lot to lose if Marlowe exposed you. Enough to kill for.
The professor's composure cracked.
All right, I admit it. Marlowe was going to ruin me. But I didn't kill him. I only threatened him, hoping to scare him off.
Samuel studied him for a moment.
I believe you. But someone else had even more to lose.
His eyes locked onto Jack Riley.
Riley, you claim to be in the lounge, but no one can confirm that. You have a criminal record, don't you? Marlowe had something on you too.
Riley's bravado faded.
He was going to turn me in for a job I did years ago. I couldn't let him ruin my life.
You had access to the kitchen. You grabbed a knife and took your chance.
Riley lunged, but Samuel was ready. He subdued him with a swift move and secured him with the help of the conductor. As the train pulled into the station, the passengers breathed a sigh of relief. The killer was in custody, thanks to Samuel's quick thinking and keen observation. As the police took Riley away, Samuel reflected on the night's events. The Midnight Express had reached its destination, and justice had been served. But the journey had reminded him that even in the most unexpected places, darkness could lurk.